Hey, I'm Cam with Veio, and you are listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast, and thanks for having me on, guys.
Hey, you are listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast. I'm Bruce.
He's skating down the ice. He takes a shot. He scores! It's Chris Seegers.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're fucked up. Today, we are going to be speaking with, I'm not sure how to say it, Veio? I'm going to go with Veio.
I think it's Veio.
Yeah, we'll have to ask him when we get him on the line. But we're going to go with Veio, and... Oh, he's calling right now.
Oh, okay. Let's get him on the line.
All right. Hang on. Let's see what we got here. Hold on.
Hey, how you doing?
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Hey, Chris. I'm Cam.
Nice to meet you, Cam. How are you doing?
You as well. I'm doing pretty good. Just woke up a little bit ago, but I'm doing fine.
Oh, man. Where are you?
I'm in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So what is it there, like 10 a.m. or something?
Yeah, it's 10, and I'm a night owl, so I got up about an hour ago, so...
I love Portland, man. I used to go down there sometimes.
I'm a little biased because it's home, but I love it too. It's a great place to be.
There's a lot of good beer there.
There's too much good beer here.
I went to this brewery that was at the university. I can't remember what it was called.
Uh-huh.
And God, it was so good. We got pretty wasted in there.
That's the problem though, is like, well, it's not really a problem, but we've got so many breweries here that I don't know which one you're talking about because there's like hundreds.
Yeah, I was down there visiting with I used to live in Vancouver, Canada, and we went we went there. Frank Zappa's old bass player lives in Portland. So we went down.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
We went down to visit him, and he took us to this brewery, and we were like, "Oh my god, this is crazy!" Cool.
Nice. That's right. That sounds like a cool time.
Yeah, it was
so,
good.
So, Cam,
yeah.
let me ask you to settle a debate here we had before we got on the air.
Sure.
Are 5 quarantine beers the same as 1 regular beer in real life when there's no quarantine?
Oh, I gotta say, yeah.
Yeah, that's what, right. I would definitely say yeah.
I gotta admit, I've been drinking a little more than I normally would in this quarantine because there's nothing else to do.
Right.
It's my excuse too.
What's it like out there? Is it pretty still on lockdown kind of, or is it starting to go back to normal?
It's starting to go back to normal. We're still officially on lockdown, but our governor out here just announced yesterday that she's opening up a bunch of state parks and stuff. But you could tell, like, for a few weeks there, for being not a huge city, Portland has really bad traffic. And traffic is starting to go back to normal now. Like, it's not like quite as bad as usual, but there's definitely more people on the highways, given like in the morning and rush hour time and all that. So it's starting to come out of this whole thing. So yeah.
All right, cool. We can jump right into the music portion of it.
Cool, right on.
Before we do that, you know why Bruce's video isn't on? Because he's ugly.
Oh man!
It's because he lives in buttfuck nowhere and his internet sucks. That's why. Actually.
So I'm in Richmond, just right outside of. I'm in a suburb of Richmond, but for some reason the internet here just absolutely sucks. When I turn on the video, we drop all the time. So
see, that's weird to me because that seems like you should have just normal internet like anywhere else.
I would think so too. I mean, I pay normal internet fees, but it doesn't work like it should. So.
Oh, weird.
There's only one game. There's only one game in town in my little town as well. So I mean, there's no I can't pick another, Xfinity or whatever the other ones are. I have the really bad one, and it's not up for grabs. I have to just use what I got.
I'm just gonna rub this in. I live in North Virginia, about 10 minutes from like all the Amazon and Google servers, and they're putting in 2 gigabit internet into our houses soon.
Nice.
Jeez, just because you guys live right there.
Yeah, I have 1 gigabit already.
Dang, that's pretty rad though.
That's cool. To transfer all the false media. Sorry.
Notice there's been a lot of that false media going around the last few months.
Oh man, my favorite one, I was just telling Bruce about it. My favorite one is there's a photo of like from the Spanish flu, and hey, I like this.
Oh, this is just LaCroix.
Oh.
Oh.
I was like, man, we're getting started early. Good morning. But my favorite one is a picture of the Spanish flu, and somebody drew a fake 1G cell tower in there.
Nice. That's funny.
They're
That's
like,
funny.
this is a photo they don't want you to see, and it's like 1G cell tower. Like,
From 100 years ago.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, God.
You could settle one more debate for us before we really jump in. How do you pronounce the name of the band? How do you pronounce the name of the band?
Veio.
Veio,
Right.
you were right. I was wrong. I was wrong.
I'm always right.
You know, it's funny. We get that all the time, and I knew I chose the name of the band when we first started, and I wanted to. And this might be a question you want to ask in the interview. I don't know, but you know, I chose a unique, funky name on purpose, and so like a lot of times people are like, "Oh, I feel so bad. I don't know how to say the name," and I'm like, "That's okay, because that's kind of part of the whole deal." So yeah,
It's the point.
yeah. So Veio, yeah.
Awesome. So now, I was watching the news. I guess that's the newest single, right? That you have the video up for? Crux?
Yes, we just made that semi-public the other day.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was just watching that, man. I got to tell you, it's really well produced, and I'm really digging the song. What's been the reaction so far?
Well, so far it's only been available to people who sign up for like our pre-sale stuff, and like, you know, kind of like our little fan club kind of deal.
Right.
But the reaction within that has been extremely positive. Like our Instagram page has grown by, you know, a little bit, not much, but like just through that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's been overly positive so far, which is awesome. Makes us feel good. But we'll be releasing it publicly, like all the way publicly here soon. So you know, hopefully just more positive feedback rolls in after that.
What's it like trying to get ready to release an album? I guess it's due out, the third week of June or something, like June 19th, I think I read. What's it like trying to get ready to release a record in this weird, bizarre world we're living in?
You know, it's not all bad, but it does kind of suck too, because you get ready to put out a new record and you want to go play this record for people. You want to get out on the road, and that's all part of doing what an album cycle is you release a new record and then you get out and go play. And obviously we can't do that right now. We've had a couple tours that we're supposed to be out on canceled. Everything else is just getting pushed back. You know, I think they're doing stuff like Coachella in November now.
What?
I heard that they might do Coachella in November. I'm not sure on that. But so everything is just getting pushed back. And from what I've heard from a lot of the booking agencies too, they're not even focused on this year anymore. Even though we're still pretty early in this year, they're focused on 2021 already, which is kind of crazy. So for a smaller band where we're at right now, it kind of sucks because, you know, we're not going to be able to get out there right away and play, you know, do a full national tour and play on the East Coast, the South, Midwest, everywhere. But at the same time, it has granted us the opportunity to do more, I don't know, get better, I should say, at stuff that we haven't typically always done, like doing Facebook Live and Instagram Live videos from home and really connecting with fans one-on-one through that type of that mode of communication. So, you know, we're making do with what we got. It hasn't been terribly bad, and you know, who knows if the quarantine stuff is still going on in mid-June, it might grant people an opportunity to be at home and being like, hey, I'm bored, let's go search out new music and find our music that way. So yeah,
awesome. Chris?
Man, you know, I hope it doesn't go to June, but it might start up again in June. It's
I hope not.
Me too. Trust me, it's crazy. What was the recording process like for this record?
So the recording process for this record was actually kind of a long haul, especially for a smaller band where we're at right now. You know, usually guys at our level get in and get out, but we had the luxury and somewhat of a headache as well of recording this whole record over about not quite a year and a half, but probably a year and a quarter time span. And we recorded it in batches. We got a first couple songs done in early 2019, started those in late 2018, and then kind of recorded in batches. And so it's been a long haul, so it feels good that it's done. And of course, me being the vocalist, I go in basically last to do everything, but I play guitar for the band too. And I'm there for every recording process, every recording session. So finally, when I was done, the last day of vocals, the last day of tweaking every little thing, and then just letting the mix and master do its work, I was like very relieved, like, wow, it's finally done. It's been a year in the making, and I can relax a little bit now.
Yeah. So did you guys record the record yourself, or did you go to a studio, producer, use other engineers? How did that go?
Yeah, so we record here in Portland. We've got our guy. His name is Stephen Hawks. He's does a great job with a lot of great bands. He's part of a recording outfit here called Interlace Audio, with his business partner being Chris Crummett, who's a nationally known name, does a lot of big national bands here in Portland as well. But we started the process actually when I was saying in late 2018. We went down to Southern Oregon to a studio run by Sylvia Massey, and that's name a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of name people out there know. That's a name a lot of people out there know. And so we started that process with her, had the opportunity through our management group. They know Sylvia, and she had an opening for a few days. So we went down there literally the day after Christmas in 2018 and recorded one track with her. And that was a fun experience. So between her and Stefan, who's our guy who mixes and masters everything himself, we've got a pretty good setup for this record, and we've got a great team going overall with the recording and the video shoots. Like we were mentioning, our video team is great too. So we've got a good setup as far as recording and production goes.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
It's kind of funny, right? Like you spend so long recording and tracking and refining and arranging, and you do all this stuff, and then the mixer comes along and it's like one day, one song done. Next day, one song done. Next day, one song done. And it just kind of goes really fast. And then you're like, oh, man. Then it goes to mastering. And like a few hours later, you're like, oh, no. Like you take all this time, and then mastering is like, well, here you go. It's done. It's so fast.
Yep. You're like, that's it? Okay, well, I guess we're done now.
Yeah, it's so fast. It's such a fast process.
Yeah.
Very scientific. So you said, oh, go ahead, Bruce. Sorry.
No. I was just going to ask, at the end of the day, is there something you want your fans to walk away with after listening to a Veio record? Is there a message or a takeaway?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because, as a lyricist, I like to write songs that are meaningful. And I know that seems like really like artistic and like, like, oh, I'm so cool. But in my mind, it's not really like a point of like trying to get myself across necessarily, as I just like to sing about things that might mean something to somebody. Mm-hmm. And sometimes in the lyric writing process that takes a little bit longer for me, but as far as this record goes, we set out with a concept. And so the new album is called Vitruvian, and that's taken from Leonardo da Vinci's sketch of Vitruvian Man, which you guys may have seen, a lot of people out there have seen before. And the translation from Italian or Latin or whatever he spoke into English is Vitruvian Man means proportions of man. And what he meant was physical proportions, arm length, leg length, head size, that kind of stuff. Right. But in writing the album, I took it and translated that for myself and for our band as proportions of man, as just like, things, parts of life that we all go through. Emotions, experiences, spiritual experiences and connections, just anything like that. And I applied a theme to each song, a concept to each song. And so on this record, I'm hoping that, when people listen, they'll be like, oh, this is kind of the theme to this song. And, hopefully that will help some people out in the long run. Just at least help people connect to something that's greater than they are, or greater than we are, greater than they are. You know what I mean?
Right.
As a community and as a connection between people.
So along those same lines, then, do you have a story, or I guess a story is the word I'm looking for, of how a fan has told you your lyrics have connected and what that felt like?
Yeah, I mean, we get pretty good feedback, especially out on tour when we're on the bigger tours and someone hasn't heard of us, and they say they come up to merch afterwards or meet us out by the buses and are like, hey, we had never heard of you before a week ago, and we looked at the show and then looked you guys up, and we really dig what you do. So that obviously makes us feel good and puts a lot of the hard work and the long drives that we have into makes it worth it. People have said, hey, this I'm thinking of specific fans in my mind right now that we've connected with on the road and online and stuff. And, it's just cool when people come to you and be like, hey, I was struggling at this point in my life and this song really hit home with me, or, oh, hey, we just had a kid and you were on our celebratory soundtrack, or something like
right.
that. It's just cool how people use music to just relate to different things in their life, and just us being a small part of that, and people saying like, hey, what you created was awesome in this moment. Just it makes it worth it with what we do. So
right.
What's a moment for you with another band that created that moment for you?
Oh, man. I've met a lot of really cool musicians over the years. That's hard to say.
I'll give you one. I started with in the 90s, Stone Gossard partnered up with Sean Smith, who recently passed away, and they had the band Brad. I don't know if you know Brad.
I'm not super familiar, but I've heard of him.
I have no idea.
They released the first album. It's called Shame, because originally they were going to name their band Shame, but there was a band in the UK called Shame, and he wouldn't give up the trademark. And the guy that owned the trademark, his name was Brad. So they named their band Brad and called the record Shame. But that record, for me, every time I hear it, it's like one of those surreal moments where it kind of just connects with me in a way that I can't really describe in any other way. It just... Yeah.
That's hilarious to say that, but I don't know him personally, but Stone, he's a Seattle guy, so he's up here in the Northwest with us, but I guess certain albums do hit home like that with me in terms of just nostalgia and growing up as a kid listening to them. Like I would probably say Anima from Tool is one of them.
Yeah.
Man, he's 16 Stone by Bush.
Oh yeah.
Those were some of my first discoveries of rock and roll, or anything Hendrix. Hendrix is my favorite artist of all time. Oh
God, he's so good.
He's so good. And so any of those, they were like some of my first discoveries of rock and roll as a kid. So I would say going back to that, but also as a musician now, like meeting certain musicians that you've aspired to or looked up to over the years is really cool. And when they give you compliments, like Sean Morgan from Seether, when we were out with Seether, obviously I'd heard Seether for years and years. And, when he's walking up to you backstage and be like, hey, I didn't know who you guys were when you jumped on this tour, but you're my new favorite band. Like that kind of stuff is cool.
That's great. Cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. So
Bruce?
Yeah. So I've got a couple here. So
hey, Bruce, can you back off the mic a bit? You're getting a little hot. Yeah.
I'm always hot, dude.
No, sorry. I mean level wise.
I thought you meant. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So everybody has, I guess, that aha moment. Do you remember what the first record you bought was with your own money?
I can tell you the first record I tried to buy with my own money.
All right, that works.
It was Doggy Style by Snoop.
Nice.
Yeah, and I distinctly remember I was trying to buy it, and my dad was like looking at the record in the CD store in the mall with me, and he asked like the attendant about it, or the clerk, whoever the person working, and I remember the person be like, I don't know if this is appropriate for like however old I was. So that's what I tried to buy, but I think I ended up getting. I think I got. My brother, who was our drummer, he bought The Great Southern Trendkill by Pantera.
Oh yeah,
as his first self-bought CD, And I don't really remember what mine was. It was probably honestly like 16 Stone by Bush or something in that realm. So
I remember when that record came out, it was all over the radio, man. It didn't stop.
Oh, yeah.
Radio. Definitely. What's that?
Well, hey, that's funny you say that, because out here in Portland, we haven't had a rock station for going on 10 years now. We don't have like a rock station here in Portland. And so when you joke about what's radio, it's like for people like me and the rock community here in Portland, like we've been, I say stuck. We've been stuck with Pandora and Spotify and all those things because we don't have a local rock radio station anymore. So we're kind of in the dark here on what rock radio is nowadays.
Yeah, I don't even know. Here in DC, they have they call it a rock station, but they don't really play rock. They kind of play what's that band called? I don't even think they have a drummer.
Oh, jeez.
What's the name of that? God, I can't remember the name of the band. They're like a hipster band, and they always go, oh. That's
but really, at the end of the day, anybody's listening to this podcast anyway.
It's gonna
Imagine Dragons. Imagine Dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't. I think they don't use like normal drums. I don't think. I don't know.
Oh, really?
They play Imagine Dragons, but there's another one. They're like a folk rock act, and I can't remember it. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Huge band, but it's not rock. You know what I mean? It's just
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, something I found interesting over the last couple of years, and since we've been getting played on national radio too, and getting into that whole scene, is that alternative is a totally separate genre now. Like you hear these alternative bands or what's being labeled as an alternative band, and I'm kind of like, oh, they're just kind of a rock band too. Like it sounds rock and roll to me, just a little bit different style, but now it's like for some reason like a completely separate like genre of music, which is strange to me because when we did have a rock station here in Portland, a lot of those same what would be considered alternative now was being played mixed in with Zeppelin and Metallica and Alice in Chains and all kind of like the classic radio bands, so
yeah, crazy, man. Oh man, going back through time. We should add a sound effect here. I don't know, something.
I'm sorry for my partner. He's a little far out there.
So
I dig it.
This is what he gets for partnering with a Canadian that lives in the U.S. This is what happens. Okay, Bruce, you got anything else?
I do. I've got one more for you. So we talked about do you remember the first show you ever attended?
Yes. The first show I ever attended was an arena show, and it was here in Portland, and it was AC/DC.
Nice. Was that the Razor's Edge tour?
I don't remember. It was 1996. Maybe.
Okay. So
something like that.
It wasn't the Razor's Edge then.
Yeah, maybe 98. I don't remember. I was fairly young, so I don't remember the name of the tour, but I remember the show distinctly.
Nice.
Would they bring out the cannon?
Oh, they brought out all this stuff. There's a big steel spiral staircase that Angus ran up to the top of, and then he took his fretboard and grinded it on the railing all the way down. And of course, it was going, Ew! But then at the same time, they had sparks flying off the railing from it.
Nice.
So yeah, it was crazy.
All right. So lastly, you can settle one more argument for me or for us. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Oh man. That sounds like a real East Coast type question. I have never considered a hot dog a sandwich.
Why though? Why?
You got me thinking now, but just because
I mean, by definition, a sandwich is like something between two pieces of bread, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So,
but I don't know. I think I think if you took the hot dog and you sliced it into like flat parts, you could put it in between the bread, and that makes it more of a sandwich. But I don't know. I just think of a hot dog as like, I don't know.
So the round meat makes it not a sandwich.
I think, in my opinion, the round meat makes it not a sandwich.
That's the best answer we've had in a while, Bruce.
Yeah.
So we got to go here in a second, but what we had this conversation the other day. I don't even remember what band we were talking to, and they said it's that little piece of bread that holds the two pieces together. You know, that little sliver?
Oh, yeah.
And they actually, we actually came up with a name for it.
Well, let's see if he has a name for it.
What would you call that little slice of bread or that sliver there?
I don't know if I can say it out loud.
You can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
Should I call it like the taint or something like that?
Hey, so that's pretty good. I think Chris came up with sausage hymen.
No, hot dog hymen.
Hot dog hymen. There you go.
That's good too.
That's bad,
but
though.
You know what? If you think about it, though, Subway sandwiches have that little part, and they're called Subway sandwiches.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
But there's no round meat in them.
There's no round meat.
But there is a meatball sub, so that is round.
But they're cut in half.
That's true. But they have the hot dog hymen as them, and they're called a sandwich. So
I love you used it in the conversation. That's great.
so it's I don't know.
Well, that's all I've got. I'm sorry about the bizarre question at the end there.
I love it.
What a way to. Aren't you glad you came on this podcast?
I actually, I gotta say, I really like what you guys are doing because it's more of just hanging out and talking rather than formal interview, and I like that. So
thank you for getting it.
Yeah, we always call it just a casual conversation with, and that's it. So just people get to know the band instead of like, what's the song about, and
right.
Who are you dating right now? What's happening here?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I'm sorry for any background noise. The garbage truck is coming right outside my front window right now.
Bruce is over there?
You're good.
I didn't know Bruce was in Portland.
Hey, I appreciate you taking the time, man. Good luck with the record. Stay safe, and we'll chat soon.
Thanks, guys. Hope to see you again.
Rock on, brother. Talk to you later.
See you. Thanks.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks. See ya.
Hello out there. Yes, hello out there, everyone. I'm Hal Schwartz.
And I'm Flynn McLean. Together we host None But the Brave, a podcast dedicated to the music and career of Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce and E Street Band are on tour right now for the first time in 6 years, and we're taking a detailed look at what's happening on stage in our bi-weekly episodes.
We've also been recently joined by some very exciting guests, including rock journalist Warren Zanes and Stephen Hayden, Backstreet's Magazine founder Charles Cross, and Barstool's Kirk Minahan.
If you're a diehard Springsteen fan, this is the show for you.
So please subscribe to None But the Brave on your favorite podcasting platform, and we hope to see you further on up the road.
Thank you so much. We'll be seeing you.